Hey everybody, what's up? It's Brian with Brian's Knives. You all may have seen my good friend Mickey's recent video on a titanium stove sent to him by Battle Box. I thought that was pretty cool, and it got me curious about the best portable backpacking or emergency stoves. So I picked up one that I want to show you today. And this video is going to be kind of an overview with some footage of the stove at work, as you can see there in the background. It would be kind of dumb to get an emergency stove and never use it until you're in an emergency. So we're kind of testing this out and looking at some positives and negatives about this particular kind of stove. So today we're going to look at a solid fuel stove, and we're looking at this Esbit. This is a three-piece camping cook set that has the stove with it. You can find these on Amazon. I'll put a link down in the video description. And I'll also be using the Esbit fuel tablets, and I'll link those below as well in case you're interested. So if you pick up the stove, what comes with it? Well, the one that you see there includes a 585 milliliter pot, lid, and a wind deflector / pot stand, and all that fits inside of a mesh storage bag. It's made from lightweight, hard anodized aluminum, weighs only 7 ounces. And we said we're going to use the Esbit solid state fuel cubes in it. The pot also is pretty cool that it has some markings for liters and ounces on the pot itself. So you can tell how much liquid that you have in the pot. And then it has a couple of folding grips there that will fold flat against the body of the pot. So kind of cool. Seems like a pretty decent setup. So let's talk about the solid fuel tablets. So the ones that we're using are the ones made by Esbit. They say they're 1,300 degrees Fahrenheit. They're smokeless. And these are 14-gram fuel tablets. You can find those on Amazon, and I'll link that link in the description too. I bought a package of 36. I think you can buy as few as a dozen if you want. And these hexamine-based fuel tablets were invented in Germany in 1936. And the name Esbit comes from the initials of the inventor, which was Eric Schumm. I'm assuming it's SCHUMM. And the words in German for fuel in tablet form. I won't try to pronounce the German. The Eric Schumm Company was later named the Esbit Company. And they also made the stoves to go with these fuel tablets. And back in the day, they advertised them for all sorts of things, like you could use them to warm food and beverages, for sports, for hiking, for travel, and even for workers to use on their breaks. Prior to 1945, there were a few different types of these stoves that were offered. Of which the most commonly encountered today is the Model 9. I did find it interesting that the Esbit stoves were issued to German soldiers in World War II, and they were also available for soldiers to buy if they wanted to. And so these stoves and solid fuel tablets have been around a long time and have seen a lot of use by all kinds of people. So that's one good thing about it. It's not something brand new that no one really has much experience with. These have been around a while and been tested for years and years. I also ran across a cool article about the history of the Esbit stoves, and I'll link that in the video in case you might be interested in that. All right, well, some people, like backpackers, really like these stoves, and it's pretty obvious. It's because they weigh hardly anything, and you can carry these solid fuel tablets with you, which is a lot better than carrying like a fuel canister or a fuel bottle with some of the other stoves that we'll take a look at eventually here. So these are very simple but very reliable stoves. So let's talk about some pros of using a solid fuel stove. Well, we've already mentioned these tablets burn at 1300 degrees Fahrenheit, and they do not smoke. And that can be important depending on what you're doing and where you are. You don't always want people to know that you have a fire going. You may not always want people to know your location. And so by using these kinds of fuel tablets, you don't have to worry about that. The Esbit company says that one large cube, which is the 0.5 ounce one, will bring 1 pint of water to a boil in about 8 minutes. In my experience, these cubes last a lot longer than 8 minutes. But as you know, as the tablet burns up, you do start seeing the flame decrease in size, and there's less and less heat there as they extinguish. But they do last quite a bit longer than that. What else? Lighting one of these is super easy. You need nothing more than a match or a lighter. Just nothing to it. They light right away, super easy. I guess you could also see that as a con, that you do need a match or a lighter to light these tablets. Esbit says they burn really well at altitude, so that might be of interest to you. And they have a long history, and folks like NATO forces have used them. They've been used on expeditions. They've been used in the aftermath of disasters. And then they've been used by all kinds of people that like the outdoors for various reasons. These tablets last a very long time when stored properly. So that's a good thing. You can have a little stockpile of these. Don't have to worry about them going bad. They probably work best to boil water for like dehydrated food that you might have or for a hot beverage, but they can be cooked on. So that's something to know. They are super quiet, which I really appreciate. And again, that could be important depending on the situation that you're in. If you know much about camping stoves, you know that some of those sound like a rocket ship when you fire them up, whereas these are virtually silent. There's hardly any noise at all from these stoves and tablets. And then, of course, we've already mentioned that these work great as a fire starter, too. So even if you don't carry them to use in a stove, you might need help getting a fire started sometime, and they can certainly be a big help in that. Okay, so that's some of the pros. What about some of the cons? Well, I don't have too many cons for you, but I'll mention a few. One of them is those tablets do have an odor. Some people say they kind of smell like fish to them, but they do have an odor. I mean, I don't think it's a big deal, but it's something to be aware of. In most cases, there isn't a way to vary the heat, so it's kind of all or nothing with these stoves and fuel tablets. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it doesn't mean that with the right setup you can't do some cooking on these. And then the last thing I would say, these are hexamine tablets, so there are chemicals involved in these tablets. So I probably wouldn't want to be, breathing the vapor in as it burns, and I certainly wouldn't want to eat any of them either. So, you know, some common sense there goes a long way. So what are some final thoughts about the stove? I think they're pretty great to have around. And I plan on keeping one in each of our go bags for just in case that we might need those. But they could be used and be handy for all sorts of situations outdoors, whether you're a hiker or backpacker or hunter, or anytime you might just want to boil water away from the house and away from power sources. These stoves work great for that. So I hope that was helpful. I tried to give you a good rundown, as well as showing you some video footage of that stove at work. They do make hot water for certain, and they're just kind of a cool little stove to use. So again, there's all sorts of stoves available for those, and some of the stoves are going to work better than others, so you may have to kind of experiment to find out the setup that works best for you. But I think it's certainly something to consider having on hand, just in case you may find yourself in need of it. All right, guys, well, that's it. We're also going to be looking in the future at alcohol stoves, just so you know, as well as biomass stoves. So, you know, what happens when you don't have any fuel tablets, when you don't have fuel available? Well, there's a stove for that, and it's called a biomass stove, where you gather twigs and leaves and whatever else you can find to use in that stove as fuel. So stay tuned for those. Those videos will be coming up in the next several weeks, and hope you're enjoying these so far. All right, guys, well, I got to go. Hope you're doing well, and appreciate you so much for tuning in. And if you have experience with these stoves and fuel tablets, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about it. Always love to hear what you guys think. All right, well, take care. God bless. We'll see you in the next video.